Hi, I'm Colleen. Today we're going to learn how to make your rattle project. A rattle is going to be a hollow form. It's going to be a sculpture, and I want it to be something exciting. I don't want it to be a sculpture of a potato. You will read about the things I don't like in the module, in the assignment. But anyway, so we're going to make a hollow form, and I'm going to teach you to make a hollow form by making some pinch pots. Now you know how to make a pinch pot. That was your last project. And I have made 2 pinch pots. These pinch pots are, I left a little bit more thickness at the top edge of these because we're going to want to join them together. And you don't want like a razor thin rim because it's not going to have enough surface area to join. So even though this part is 1/4 of an inch thickness, you remember how to test that by stabbing it and measuring it with your needle tool, but you will want to leave the rim a little bit thicker. So remember when we were learning how to join clay, we joined it by scoring and slipping. So we're going to score and slip these 2 surfaces, and since they're about the same size, we'll be able to join those together. But since this is going to be a rattle, we will need to put some little beads inside. This is how to do this, and don't forget this step. So you're going to make some little beads, and I would make a couple of them, and just little balls of clay. Doesn't matter really what they look like because they're going to be inside and you'll never see them again. To keep them from sticking to the inside of your sticky inside of your pinch pot, you're going to wrap them up and make some little packages in some paper towel. The paper towel will burn away when we fire it in the kiln and leave just the bead behind. So those are your pieces that are going to rattle, and you're going to just drop those in there, and then you can go about scoring and slipping your 2 halves here. So what I've got here is what's called slurry or joining slip, and it's just clay that's been mixed together with some water. It's gooey, and you can make this at home. We have some in the studio that's already made up. Make that at home by just getting a little piece of clay and adding some water to it. I think I've got some water here. You can add water to it and mash it up until it's mixed to a kind of a gooey consistency. That's the scientific term, gooiness. So we've got slurry or joining slip, and we're going to score and slip. Now remember, scoring and slipping is something that you will need a tool to do it with, and I like to use, I have a little serrated rib that has teeth around the edge, and that's a good tool to score with. You want something that's going to score severely enough to make your surface very rough, like Velcro, so that 2 pieces of the Velcro will stick to itself and you'll be given a better join than a smooth surface. Another thing you could use, this is, oops, sorry, go back in there. Another thing you can use, you can plunder your floor broom or your whisk broom and get something like that that has a lot of little teeth, and this can also be used to score a surface. You can do it with a needle tool, but it takes a lot of scoring to get it rough. So not the best tool, but it could work in a pinch as long as you get enough scoring that it looks very rough. So next step is to, you're going to put a little bit of this joining slip on there. Oops, I need to go all the way around here, don't I? you're going to put a little bit of this joining slip on here. You don't need a lot. Don't have so much that it's going to all squeeze out, but just a little bit will help. It's not exactly glue, but it does help join these together a little bit. So you can put it on both sides if you like, but one side is fine. So you're going to put those together with the beads inside, and you're going to kind of wiggle and jiggle it firmly together to make sure that it's sealed up all the way around. So you're pressing kind of firmly but gently. You don't want to squash your hemispheres. And once you think it's pretty good on there and it doesn't feel like it's going to come apart when you pull on it, you've got this seam. So to help join it together even more, you can take your fingertips and like squash the clay back and forth. I like to use a tool of some kind, and you can press one side down and then go around. You've got it sealed and kind of joined all the way around, and it doesn't feel like it's going to come apart. You will notice on here I've got kind of a dent here where the seam is, and to reinforce that a little bit more, I'm going to reinforce it by adding a coil of clay. So you roll out a coil of clay on your work surface, and you can, I think I'll be a little smaller than that, smaller diameter. So you can then put that coil around where your join was. And then with that, you can also, make sure it's firmly on there. And you will also be smearing that to either side. So you just smear it that way, all the way around. Sorry, this part is not exciting video. This will help make your seam stronger. And this you can use on any kind of project, just to reinforce something where you think it might be weak. So smearing, smearing, smearing. And you're saying to yourself, wow, that made it even uglier. But that's also easy to fix. So you can take a tool again and you can smooth that. So, but this will hold together, and I can continue on with my demo here. All right, so I could smooth this even more. So now I've got something that, it's a potato. This should not be what your rattle looks like. Don't make a potato. Also, don't make a softball, a moon, a pokeball, a softball, a soccer ball, basketball. You get the idea. Make something a little more interesting that's going to be fun. So once you've got it at this point, you can actually alter the shape a little bit. And you can also, you could start instead of with two round hemispheres, you could do squares, triangles, anything you like. At this point it has air inside. So it's going to be a little bit stronger than it was when it was just a floppy, pinch pot. So I let it stiffen up a little bit before I joined those two things together. But I can also change the shape a little bit by gently paddling it. I could make it have kind of square corners if I wanted to. And there's a limit to how much you can do this, but you can change the shape just a bit. So now I've got a square potato. So here's my hollow form, and this is going to be the base of my project. I think I shall make a small animal. So I'm going to say I need a head on this animal, and I'm going to add a head onto this by making another little pinch pot. All right. So anytime you're going to add something that's going to be thicker than 3/4 of an inch, this is a solid ball, it's already 3/4 of an inch, which would be too thick to add. So I'm going to make a little tiny pinch pot to make a head on my little ugly animal. All right, so there's something. And remember, when you're going to join something, you will need to score and slip. So I think this head is going to go, let's see, we'll put it on this end. This is where the head is going to go. I'm going to mark where it's going to go, just by making a little light line on here. And then we'll need to score it and slip it. So I'm scoring. Remember, make it nice and rough. I'm going to add a little bit of this joining slip on there. And before I put that on there, I'm going to score this edge too. And I'm going to drill a hole. So remember that any hollow form needs to have an air access hole to the outside. So since this is hollow, if this fills with steam and it doesn't have a way for the steam to escape, it will blow its head off, which is bad for animals. So I'm going to drill a little hole here so that whatever steam is in here can travel through here. Also, you're going to drill a hole somewhere on the rest of your hollow form so that air and steam can travel from one place to another. So I'm going to put that on there. Remember, wiggle and jiggle it until it's really firmly on there. Isn't this a horrible looking animal? And I'm going to join it securely on here, but not in a beautiful way, but in a functional way. Okay, so it's got a head, and any steam that gets formed in here can go through the body and out the bottom. Here is something that I made a similar one, so that air is in here, it can go through the body and out. You'll notice this was made this same way, and where the joint is, I couldn't smooth the inside, of course, because it's on the inside. But since I did such a good job on the outside, that's fine. So if you want to add other things on here, it can be done. Say you want this to be a, let's see, we'll make it a little sheep. You can make little horns. If you're going to add something that is smaller than 3/4 of an inch in diameter, you don't need to make hollow. So you can just make it a regular piece that you're just adding in. But also always you will need to score and slip. So scoring, dab stuff on there. And also this part. Tiny additions like this sometimes can be very fragile. I wouldn't go any tinier than this, even if you're tempted to. So wiggling and jiggling again to make sure it's on there securely. I'm pushing in a little bit. And I'm not squeezing it right there where I'm joining it. So I'm not getting too much of a weak spot. If it looks like there's a weak spot, you can take a tiny snake of clay, go around there and join that to reinforce it. All right, so this is going to be my sheep. All right, so he's got little horns. He needs a face. Let's see. We're gonna make him have a face. Let's see, I'll ask my videographer. Should it be a happy sheep or a sad sheep?
Whatever you want. But I love him.
Okay, we'll make him happy then.
Okay.
Oh, isn't he beautiful? He's a happy sheep.
He's having a good time.
So you should have fun with this project. Take your time on figuring out which type of thing you want to make. It doesn't have to be an animal. It can be an object. You look at the student examples I have in the modules. There's like pictures of student projects for this assignment. We have a couple things here that you can look at. So other types of animals. I have one that's an otter. This little lizard, he's really cute, was made by a middle school student. So you should be able to at least do something that exciting. And you can make something larger than that if you want to. This is a bit larger, so don't be afraid to go bigger than the required size. Bigger is always fine. The rattle, of course, this has been disc fired, which is the preliminary firing. The rattle will rattle once it's been disc fired. You won't be able to hear. These are covered with paper. You can't hear them right now. But this is my other ugly sheep that I made. This was a sheep that was left by a student. It's also been disc fired. So in terms of your grading success, this, which was made in like 5 minutes, may not get the highest grade.
Will not.
A sheep like this will, of course, get a much higher grade. It's been looked at from all the different sides. It's like really made an effort to make it nice. So have fun with this, and I think that is all we need to say.